Good morning, Mesh. Catch us on Twitter as @Mashallah Speaks. IG, it will be the man Yonela. Catch us on Facebook as Yonela Mashallah. Good morning, Mash, the After Job Thoughts. My name is Uyonela Mashalaba, aka the iceberg that never broke. You can catch us on Twitter as Mashalaba Speaks. On IG, we are available as the man Yonela. On Facebook, of course, we are Uyonela Mashalaba. We've been away for a very, very long time. The last time you and I were together was last year, 2019, I think around November or so, but we are back. Like we said, with fresh content, fresh views of everything that is Nelson Mandela University related and the nearest outskirts. Again, anything and everything that we say on this particular platform is just the views of Uyonela Mashalaba or the guest that is particularly present there. It is not attached to anything else. You are allowed to disagree with us. That's the most beautiful part about this platform. Today, guys, I brought you guys a very special guest, Buntu Mnyaka. Buntu Mnyaka is a master's student at the Nelson Mandela University.
Yeah.
Ukraine, bro?
Bro.
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Just tired as hell, man.
Nah, how was tell us about the 5K.
The 5K.
Tell us about the 5K, guys. Every single guest that gets to come to this particular show has to first do a 5-kilometer run. It is mandatory.
What was my time again?
Your time was 51 minutes and 46 seconds. If anyone can beat that, by the way, do come on the show. Tell us, John.
It was challenging. I mean, the first 3K was fine. The moment we hit Protea Hotel.
Apparently Protea Hotel is everyone Achilles heel.
Guys,
what happens? Tell me, guys.
I don't know. All your mental preparedness and everything just goes, bruh. It just goes. I don't know. I can't explain it. I just can't. Like, it's just crazy.
But I actually think you pushed. Like, from what I expected, you actually did way more. Because, like I told you, some people have had more rest than you. No, and you only took, I think, 3 rests in between that.
Yeah.
And none before Protea Hotel, surprisingly.
No, I think it helps me that I go to the gym. I try to go to the gym every morning. 20 minutes of, what's this thing, treadmill. 20 minutes of bike. Then I attempt weights.
Okay.
I don't want to say I do weights, I attempt it. Okay. You know. So yeah, at least I try every day. You know.
What made you to start exercising?
One, research.
Okay.
Research, let me say, is a female dog. Put it like that. So you need to have that ability of an out. You know? I mean, fine, you can drink and whatsoever, but that's not enough. You can do other stuff as well, it's not enough. But you need something constant. You know? Balance. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So in fact, Steven, you helped me out in the whole thing of that. You can't be always having fun, otherwise we'll be consistent. So yeah, it's that one. You know?
Okay, cool, Ubuntu. Getting back to why we actually invited Ubuntu, you wrote an article, was it last week?
I think it was last week. Yes, it was last week. I think it was last week, sometime last week.
Tell us about that.
Okay, so this article, funny enough, is inspired by my father recently retired, and he was 60. And they wanted him to stay on until he was 65. Okay. And he was like, no, I'm tired. I just want to sit at home and basically be a problem for everyone else, you know? Because retired people have anything to do, you know?
Of course.
So it sparked a thought in me that the president speaks about this developmental state, but then the working force within government is old. So you can't, because when you develop it to speak about sustainability, so if you want to sustain something, you need to have something that sustains it. You know? So now you can't be having people that at an age that they should be thinking about the grandkids and whatsoever. Still saying no, can they stay on? You know, we need to capacitate young people. So that's where it's coming from. That Mr. President, you're talking about the developmental state. Let the focus be youth focused as well. Yeah. Some people would say no, most probably want a job, you're not serving government. No, it's not about that. You know, it's just being frank and saying no. Because we need to focus on this area of development and developing, you need young people in it, because South Africa's got it's got a huge population of young people compared to old people. So you need to take them into mind when you do that. Yeah, that's what inspired me.
Okay. You state that you actually and the president state that in the National Development Plan, the capable state, as you define it, is one that is able to respond effectively and efficiently to social challenges, and that it requires a professional public sector workforce. I think you are, like I stated, that you're alluding to the fact that South Africa is not there in terms of developing this particular capable state. So what would you state as the challenges that South African public sector faces in terms of providing this professional public service workers?
So for me, it's a huge problem. Firstly is that we don't have a patriotic public sector. People just go to work. You know, they go to work. If you even go to, costume.
Abanye bafuna drink.
Home affairs, go there. The service that people don't feel proud of the work that they do. You know, which for me is the first problem. That if you want to be a public servant, it's like if you work in a private company. When you're in a private company, you know that you get paid well, and fine, company does pay well benefits, but you also know that what's his name? You're proud of where you work. If you work for Deloitte, whatsoever, you're proud of where you work. So one, if I sound whatever, it's fine. It's my views anyway. So it's as if public sector people in the public sector have a sense of entitlement. You know, I know I'm advocating.
And you speak about this entitlement. You and I have had
not a problem
with this
entitlement.
entitlement.
No, the thing it's for me, when it comes to public sector officials, when I talk about this thing of entitlement, it's that one, they feel entitled to the job first and foremost. And you coming to require a service, it's as if you're doing them a favor, but it's your job. You know, now you can't feel that I owe you for doing a job. You know, do your job. You know, it's like if you go to check us and they say, you know, it's offline. You know, it doesn't make sense. You know, so what I'm trying to say is that if you've got that one, first of all, a non-patriotic public sector. Two, it's that them being not patriotic, they're not passionate about what they do. For example, take the whole thing of the police service. You will have the reason most young people go into the police service because lack of jobs. So therefore, lack of jobs, that's the way the police service. They're not passionate about serving people whatsoever. Hence, it's easy to be corruptible. You know, fine. We know that the role of government is to create space and opportunities for people. You know that private sector comes in and creates jobs. So, but there's a lack of that. That's why it goes back to develop a capable state. That if the state is not functioning well, if they're not functioning well, then you have a problem with creating spaces for business to come in and invest. You know. Then people then rely heavily on government. Even then government becomes a service provider for jobs. That's why people speak about a bloated public sector, but the funny thing is like it's not really that bloated, but it's just that it's not proportional. You know, there are elements of it that there's too many people there, there are elements of it there's less. So you've got that, fundamentally the problem that I have is that these people are not passionate about what they do, and them not being passionate, they don't care, because they know that come 15 or 25 or 30 years, you know.
I think another issue there is the fact that you find that in the public sector there's been people who've been occupying the same positions for decades without an inner ability or even drive to want to improve themselves. So how do you think that impacts the professionalization of that particular sector, where you get someone who entered in that particular position with a matric certificate and then 21 years later they have not improved their set of skills or anything? What's the responsibility of the individual, and what's the responsibility of the government to upscale its workers?
No, firstly you must understand that the person who's got that matric who goes to that job, so they came in, that means just after we got into freedom. So the possibility of a job was that let me get something to do, and they got it and they got comfortable, right? And them knowing as well that if I attempt to do something else, I might not have a space to improve, you know. Because like for example, if we've been in these places, you get people that tell you that go 22,000. You know. So you've got those people, right? And they've been defeated by the system, right? So they don't feel the need that I need to improve at anything because it's what they know, right? And they've got. I like to think
you say they're waiting for pensions in your article.
I'm trying to get to that. Okay. So the reason that now I'm talking about the older ones, those who've been there for 21 years. So now they like, no, I'm feeling extended. I must make sure that when I retire, everything on mine is fine. You know, they're scared of taking risk, in my view, because they want to make sure that they're secured when they stop working. You know. So that's what I think, and they're right to do that because you can't just because you become scared. But if I say no, the time off, diambe, your phone, and then come back, the possibility is that you might not be welcomed when you come back. You know, there's many things that happen within the workspace, in the public, like threats. You know,
feeling threatened.
People threatened. That I know cases of people that have told me that. They, for example, they'll be studying at NMMU and they're doing their masters. For example, when I was doing my honors at development studies, somebody said to me, I'm like, Mama, come.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, what else are you going to do?
And that is the truth. Like, how can you supervise someone who has masters and you just have your degree?
Exactly, you know. But then it's an interesting world, my guy.
Okay. What would you then say is the role of institutions of higher learning into developing this capable state?
Okay.
Like, what's our role?
Well, I've got this thing that I always say that a university is central in fine, they say that's a community within a community, right? So now the role of the university, to summarize it, is that it has to create the type of graduate that is wanted by the job market, right? But it can also influence the job market as well, you know, because basically universities are spaces of creation of knowledge, generally, you know. So you can't wait for what the market needs, but you can also influence what the market needs. I also take it a step further and say that it's intertwined by three things. So it's institutions of higher learning, it's the private sector, it's government, right? So all these three things have a role to play, you know, the development, further development, the capable state. I didn't write that in the article, but all of them have got a relationship to play because the government is the one that is overall in charge, business is the one that creates opportunities, and higher education is the one that creates the type of type of person that's ready for employment whatsoever. So they all three of them have got a role to play. You can't only say no, the university must have a role to play.
Yeah.
It's all three. So, but the university's primary responsibility is to produce a quality graduate that knows what they're supposed to do. And the other problem is that half of the graduates that we produce, they are not dynamic. Because what you need now is a dynamic graduate. You know, somebody who is not only going to say the only thing I know is accounting. You know, you don't need that, particularly coming in. Particularly coming in the fourth industrial revolution, because there's going to come a point where some of these skills are extinct. You know, you don't need them. Computer can do it. In fact, they do it fast. I mean, balancing a balance sheet, a computer can do it easily.
Something I was actually going to come to. I'll come to it later on about.
So it's those things, you know, for me. So you have to be the university responsibility of creating a dynamic student that responds to the current challenge of the time. But they talk about issues of wellness and all those things. You know, so you need to create that type of graduate that is able to deal with the challenges that are there in South Africa. Yeah, that's what I think.
Okay, and as well, the World Bank alludes to the fact that the Southern African working age population, provides great potential for growth in terms of eradicating international poverty. And alludes to the fact that actually one of the most important phases of this is actually childhood development education. Can you give us your views on that particular?
No, it's childhood development is very important. We neglected, you know. And now in our time, so like I'm old. you know, currently now, like I see with my nieces and nephews that these kids are developing very fast. You know, like there's a.
I tell them like, we need ulucha, and they don't get it. They don't get it.
You know, like a simple thing. Like one of my nephews knows that when you don't have to have money in your hand, but if you've got a card, you can go to stairs and buy something. You know, so you say I have a number, I say no, but you've got a card. You know? So it's important. Child development is important because once you start early to develop a child, you're able to pinpoint where the strengths are and you capacitate that, you know. And if I were to be honest, which most of the time I am, is to say that, particularly coming us to black people, our parents never had an opportunity to really take into Zoom what is it that we specialize in, unlike white people, because they know that Jan can landuka
and play cricket.
Jan can play cricket. So Jan, if you don't by the fifth over have a score of 30, you're walking home.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
I know growing up, for example, I was good in cultural stuff and debating whatsoever.
Overemphasis
you
on
know?
Traditional.
So my parents say, no, dear Landuka, I'm going to have a debate. My mother, my father say, it's a pangelatina. You know, we're not time for that.
We are 6.
And they still have the responsibility to fulfill.
Yeah.
So it's important that we develop children at a young age so that they assist us, so they're able to pinpoint exactly what role can they play. And how can they assist the state to develop in itself? You know, at the end of the day, we all want. No one wishes anyone in any bad luck, but we all want what's better for everyone. Yeah, I think that's my opinion.
And what would you say the impact of a mixed generational workforce would be in terms of even our trajectory towards the fourth industrial revolution?
No, it's important for me. It's important in the sense that I used to have call him a mentor at the university who said that you need a generational mix to understand the old and to understand the new, right? And you can always learn from those two. You know, you can't us even as young people have got this ability that we know everything, you know, and then once it gets given to you, you're like, yo, I did not sign up for this. You know? In fact, you pray sometimes, right? I said, you know. So you've got those. So for me, it's important. That's why in my article I try not to say that I don't sound like an ageist, you know, because people will think that you want those who are 45 and 65 to live.
To go and die somewhere.
No. What I'm trying to simply say is that we need that generational mix, but it mustn't be a situation where we neglect young people, we neglect old people. We must be able to transfer of skills. You know, let's learn from them, because, for example, now we speak about concept of working smart. You know, that a person can be in the office the entire day, but then you're like, what have you done? Say, you had 70. Pretend like the computer, to write everything out. But while you know that you can just take out a tablet and things like that and just work quickly. You can do a lot within an hour. That work smart, basically. You know. So there's those things that you must learn, and that you can accomplish more if you work smart rather than taking the long way around. So it's such a generational mix that you need. It's not an exchange of skills.
Okay.
Well, hopefully I respond to your question.
Okay. Getting back to you, you are participating in the Leaders for Change Summit. Tell us about that.
I don't know how it came about. So a panelist,
Okay.
speaking on resilience in the workplace. Funny enough,
doing a lot of things. I
mean, it's a mutual friend of ours that we have that said, no, take this guy. Hence, hey, it's Karen. Okay.
Name man.
You know. So she's a lady, I think that believes in a lot, you know.
Definitely.
Things that we do
One
and
of
stuff like
the
that.
best people to encourage us.
Yeah.
I know a lot of entrepreneurs that actually benefited from her.
You know, even though me and her have a very tough relationship, you know, very straightforward relationship, you know, but very pleasant one, you know. So the opportunity came that I must speak on resilience in terms of the workplace, and when it was described to me, because I had to go back and say, what do I have to speak? So it's about how have you survived so far being outside of leadership, the transitioning whatsoever, like about being consistent, about one, knowing that the world doesn't owe you anything, leading. No one asked you to lead. In fact, people did ask you to lead, but you volunteered basically, you know. So you're not entitled to the benefits of it, but it's a work ethic that speaks for you, you know, and what you've done, you know.
Yours does speak for you.
You know, I like to think so. Hopefully, you know. So it's those things, you know, that I was speaking about. So I don't know who else is going to be there, but it's an opportunity for me. I know. I mean, you were the first one. In fact, I think when Amnesty, you guys were the first one that gave me an opportunity to speak publicly somewhere. You know, even though I arrived in a suit.
Really?
You know, so yeah, man, that's what it's about. 2020 is proving to be a very interesting year for me. You know, new decade, new opportunities and stuff like that. Yeah, so I'm enjoying it so far.
Okay, thank you, Buntu, for coming to Good Morning Mash.
Yeah,
it was great jogging with you this morning.
No, my guy, thanks, man. You too, for the jog. Even though, in fact, you must take this thing of being a serious health coach. You know, this guy. He's got a way of knowing when you're about to give up, and he just encourages you. One, I hate talking when I'm exercising, but today I was talking like no one's business. No, thanks, my guy.
I hope you come back to beat that time. I told you need to beat that time.
I think now I must set my time for my treadmilling. I think I must do 30 minutes each, so that I know that. People said it was at 50 something. So I feel I must private myself with this run sometimes, you know. Awkward hours. When people didn't see me, there was a big guy running, you know. So there's things like that. But no, thanks, man. Keep it up with the channel, you know.
Okay, thank you guys. Thank you. That comes to the end of our show. Again, my name is Uyonela Mashalaba, aka the iceberg that never broke. Do catch us next time, same place. Sure.
Sure.